class on the exercise evolution, we will focus on our wrists, our shoulders and neck, and our chest. These areas can commonly be affected by so many different ailments, from arthritis to osteoporosis to bursitis, and even carpal tunnel. And that can make our daily life very uncomfortable and even trying to get a good night's sleep. Today, I will section the class in stretching and opening, and you might want to do this and repeat it a couple of times until you feel well enough to move on to the strengthening. Strengthening, I'll give you different levels to work up to and even modifications. Lastly, we're going to go to the wall, and that will give us some resistance for, once again, some stretching, strengthening, and intense opening. So you can work through this class depending on what your ability is, and just pay attention to what is going on. So if you are feeling any kind of pain, then know where you need to take this. You will need a yoga strap. I will be using a resistance loop or band. You can grab a yoga blanket because we'll be doing some things kneeling if you need some cushioning on your knees. I have a chair because I'm going to show you some fun options if you choose to use a chair. And once again, a nice clear wall if you have one in your house, and that will be at the end of our program. Let's bring our attention to the wrists, an area we use a lot these days from typing and texting. And start by circling through the wrists, nice and slow, rolling through our joints, kind of getting the synovial fluid moving. Synovial fluid you'll find in all of the joints that rotate around, and then circle the opposite direction. Bring your hands down to the ground and open those fingers nice and wide. Press down into the ground or your yoga mat as if you're going to make an impression of your hand into the ground. Then keep the heel of the hand and the whole palm of the hand down as you lift all 10 fingers up off of the ground like you're stretching your cat claws. Then lower the fingers down, keep the thumbs up, and then slowly circle through your thumbs. That might be a challenge alone for some of you, and see if you can circle the opposite direction. Okay. Lower the thumbs down and start to walk the fingers outward towards the knees. See if you can keep the heel of the hand down. The heel is the base of the palm until you start to feel stretch into the wrist and even the forearms. If you have flexibility, you can keep walking around. You don't want to have the heels though lifted up if you can keep them pressed down. If that hurts, we don't want pain. Just come to a place where you feel the muscles and the tendons kind of engage, and then come back to center. Gently press into the fingers, once again, to feel a stretch and opening from the wrists up to the forearms. Make sure you're not locking the elbow though. I always like to send my breath to the place that helps me feel some release and opening. And just hold for a couple breaths, maybe 3 to 5. And once again, switch to the other side. So make sure you're not pressing down into the fingers. So come to right at the start of the fingers to the palm. Gives you a little more leverage. And press the hands straight out. You're in a box and you're pressing the walls of the box. Point the fingers down. and circle through the wrist again. Just bring the fingers right in front of you and stretch those fingers and then close. Open and close. Stretch them open, nice and wide. Close, stretch, close. Let's do a couple more. So if you do have arthritis in your fingers and your wrists, it can be very painful. And so you want to keep actually our fingers, our hands active and strong. So give them a little bit of workout. You can do this sitting at your desk or even waiting at a light at a car, a traffic light, sometimes in your car or traffic. You know what I mean. Anyway, let's start to bring some attention to our neck and shoulders. And this is an area I commonly have problems with often in the morning. So I'm going to turn around so you can sort of see the angle. Let's bring the left hand right on top of the knee and take that right hand to wrap around. Press the back of the hand into the hip. Roll the shoulders back and lift the chest and the back of the spine. Drop the right ear to right shoulder. Let the head be heavy and point the chin up towards the ceiling. Take 5 breaths. Feel the opening, the stretch right here in this little nugget, our neck and shoulders. Drop the chin to chest. Let the head be heavy. Keep drawing the shoulders blades back and down the spine, keeping the chest lifted. Release. Take a nice shoulder shrug. Showing you from the front, right hand on top of that knee. Take the left arm around. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, and drop the left ear to left shoulder. You can give a little gentle press into the right knee. Let the head be heavy. Let the weight of your head help you out. Help create some resistance. Bring the chin towards the throat. Keep the chest lifted. Just shoulder blades down. We're breathing. And then release, take a nice shoulder shrug. And a nice breath. Let's grasp our hands behind us. Roll the shoulders back and lift until you're comfortable, until you get a nice stretch here. Keep our gaze right in front. Once again, these stretches can be done anywhere. So taking time out of our day, even if we're sitting at the desk, and release. Let's give ourselves a hug. Grab a hold of our shoulders and stack those elbows on top. Point the elbows forward. Take a couple breaths here. You can keep into this position, or we're going to come into eagle arms where we crisscross at our elbows. And then bring our palms to face towards each other. Press the palms together. If you cannot bring the palms together, don't pull on the thumb. You can bring the back of the hands together. If that's still a problem, just come to bring the back of the hands together and squeeze the elbows if you cannot manage crossing the elbows. I'm going to go into full eagle arms, grounding through our seat. My gaze is right to the tip of my fingers. My elbows are bent and stacked on top of each other, and I'm feeling the stretch into my neck and shoulders. I'm lengthening through the back of the neck and lowering those shoulders down, feeling a nice stretch. This might be pretty intense for some people who have frozen shoulder or any kind of injury or rotator cuff could be a problem. If not, let's take it a little bit further by gazing up at the fingertips and lift the elbows up. Expand the breath through the chest. And then start to lower the elbows down. Let's do that again if you can. Gaze is up at the fingertips. Our head is facing forward, but our look, our gaze, our eyes are looking right on top, right here at the tip. And then lower down. We're going to do 3 on each side. Lift up. And lower down. Uncross. So once again, take a grasp behind, roll the shoulders and lift the chest. Nice deep inhale. And exhale. Release. Let's give ourselves a hug again, switching sides, grabbing onto the wrists, pointing the elbows forward, looking ahead. Inhale. And exhale. Take another breath. Once again, your choice is to crisscross at the elbows, bring the palms to face each other and press the palms together, or press the back of the hands together, or just bring the back of the hands, squeeze the elbows. There's also the option of pressing the palms together in a prayer, but keep those elbows pressed, because if you're flying those elbows out, you're getting into a different type of stretch, and this might be too much on this area. So once again, I'm going to come to eagle. My gaze is at the fingers, reaching up. Breathing through it. My first one, I feel very tight, and my body's resisting a little. And exhale down. And inhale, rise up. The first one's always about getting the alignment and connecting to how it feels in your body. The second one should feel a little bit more familiar. You've been there. And then the third one is where you really start to get the sense of that stretch and opening. You can do more than 3. Ideally, I'd like to see you work up to 10 if possible. And release. Bring those arms behind, roll the shoulders back, lift the chest, take a nice inhale. And exhale. I'm going to grasp my hands together and bring my hands right behind my head, supporting right at the neck, and then open up the chest. Point the chin up, just like we're sitting in the sun. And take a nice big inhale. And release. Let's come to that stretchy band. We're going to use this a couple different ways. So first we're going to get into a stretch. Bring that band, you can bring the band to under the elbow. If you have long arms, or longer arms than I do, you can actually come up a little bit higher. Okay, so depending on where you want to focus your stretch to, you can come up towards the shoulders or down below the elbow. You don't want to come at the bend of the elbow. So play around with it to see what feels good to you. Let's flex those hands and lift the hands up towards the sky. Relax the shoulders and come back down. Inhale, lift up. Relax the shoulders and come back down. You're pressing the palms forward, lift up and come back down. You're pressing into that strap to give some resistance and down. Let's take our hands to press down into the mat again. And just release. That is helping to build up to this next sequence. Now, once again, if you have issue with rotation of the shoulder, you might want to stick with just the resistance band. You might want to modify this. I'm going to double up my strap a little here. And I have this strap a little wider than my shoulders. Inhale, rise that strap over my head, relax the shoulders down, open up the chest. So we're externally rotating into the shoulder joints. Exhale down. Inhale, reach up, maybe reaching back a little bit more if you can. Make sure the shoulders are up towards the ears. You have a long neck and drawing the shoulders down, but lengthening through the spine. Engaging the core helps a little bit too. As you can see, my body's shaking a little bit because I am feeling that resistance. Inhale, stretch and lift. And exhale down. Let's try 2 more. See if you can go a little further back, if that's possible. And release. I know when the weather gets colder for me, then I start to feel some intense compression or pain in these areas. So it's good to give a nice stretch every once in a while. This time we're going to lift up over our head and then come at an angle to one side. So my right hand is up and my left hand is down. And reaching up. I'm going to turn around so you can see what that looks like from behind. This time I'm keeping my left hand up, coming back, and my right hand down. And stretch up. Right hand up, left hand down. Reach until it feels right to you. Holding for 3 breaths to start if you can. And then start to hold it a little bit longer. See if you can do 5 on each side, and then work up to 10. And 1 more. And release. Release that strap down. Just take a couple shoulder shrugs. Okay. So this next one is called Thread the Needle, and we are going to do it on our knees. However, I'm going to show you the modification first. If this is just too intense for you, then this is the version you should do, just seated or in a chair and cross one arm over the chest and bend the elbow of the other arm. So I'm crossing my right over my chest, taking my left arm, bending that elbow and pressing back. And feel a nice stretch that's coming across my shoulder and my arm. And then you can try the other side. Okay, so thread the needle version. You can use a blanket to cushion the knees. Come to your hands and knees. And I like to take my right hand just right underneath my nose. Start with the hand on the hip and open up the shoulder. Maybe you're reaching up towards the ceiling, but for now, just keep the hand on the hip and rotate slightly, gently in a gentle twist. So this is going to be a slight twist into the spine, so be very mindful of this movement. Then you can take that left hand, swing it underneath the right arm through the armpit. Bend from the hips, take the left cheek to the mat, relax the left arm down, palm facing up. Stretch the right hand forward, press that right palm down, like you're going to make an impression of the right arm, but keep the left arm relaxed. We're using our body weight to assist with the stretch and opening and resistance. There are a couple versions you can do with this where you can reach the right arm up if you have that movement into the shoulder, or bring that hand to wrap around into a half bind. This is just as effective. Some people bring their hand to their nose, but to get a real nice extra bonus stretch, reach that arm straight out if this is within your ability. Swing that left hand out. Let's take a puppy pose. Bring the hands to each corner of the mat. Stretch those hands forward. Bring the chin and chest down, looking in between our hands, pressing the arms away, melting the chest and heart towards the mat. Seat is up towards the ceiling. Come back to tabletop. Bring that right arm through, threading the needle, coming into that right cheek, and stretch the left hand out. My right hand is relaxed, my left hand is stretched forward, I'm resting on my cheek, my seat is up towards the ceiling, and I am softened in my body. So you don't want to tense up anywhere, you want to relax and soften. Bring that hand right next to the nose and press yourself back up. Come into puppy pose. Come into center. One thing I did forget to do on the right side is find that opening. So you can bring that right hand right underneath the nose and find that stretch and opening, or hand onto the hip. So do what feels right, what is right to you. And then take a rest. Maybe take a couple shoulder rolls. Let's come onto our seat. Let's find this stretchy band again. And take that band behind you. Coming up onto the forearms. Bring the fingertips facing you. Roll the shoulders, lift the chest. We're going to bend our knees. Come into reverse table. If this is too intense for you, then just keep it here with your seat down and roll through. We're still finding that stretch and opening. And release. Let's actually keep this band. We're going to come back to our table. So tabletop, shoulders on top of the wrists, knees hip distance apart. Grip the mat so you're going to grab a hold of the mat with your fingertip. That will save any pressure onto your wrists. Rotate the shoulders out, keep our gaze forward. And our seat behind. So we don't want to sag here. We want to keep a nice, straight, neutral spine. And we're holding into a nice tabletop, pressing into that resistance band. And let's just take a break. We're going to work up. Using that same kind of structure, let's walk those hands slightly forward. Now our shoulders are at an angle from our wrists, where our toes are curled under. Okay, I'm going to move back a little bit. I'm going to come forward and then bend the elbows, squeeze the elbows close, keeping my gaze to the front of the mat. Press up. And then take a quick stretch. Let's come forward. Bend the elbows, bring your chest to the front of the mat, squeeze those elbows. Come back and press back. Let's come forward. Grip the mat with the fingertips, then the elbows, lower. Press it back. Take a nice breath. Come forward, lower. Up and back. Let's try one more. And lower. And come back. Let's come back to tabletop. Now, if you are able, if you're feeling strong, you can come into a plank. So plank is a nice flat back, shoulders over wrist, gripping the mat, and holding here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And come back to a stretch. Come back to hands and knees. If you want to come to a plank, holding. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Come back and stretch. And once again, grip the mat with the fingers and come into plank. And back. Now, downward facing dog. Grip the mat with the fingertips. Keep pressing into that resistant band. Lift the knees up. You can keep the knees bent. Press back. So this helps with the shoulders, the wrist because it's weight bearing, and the chest. Some other areas as well. So holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's come back to our knees. Take a quick stretch. Come back to table. Downward facing dog. Maybe holding a little bit longer. Let's try 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lower down, stretch it out. Come back up. And one more downward dog. Let's go for the gold. Holding it for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Oh my. Let's release ourselves out of that and do a couple shoulder rolls. That is pretty intense, but feels really, really good in my body, and I hope in your body as well. So we're going to do a few more weight-bearing exercises here. Start with our knees stacked on top of each other. Now this is once again going to get into our shoulder, but definitely into our wrist. You can bring your hands onto your hips and walk that hand out slightly at an angle. Grip them out with the fingertips, remember, like you're going to grab a hold of it. Take a nice big inhale and press into the mat and lift those hips up. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Take a rest. So when you come up, that shoulder will start to move over that wrist. So right now we're at a slight angle, and we're gonna engage that core, lift up those hips. If you want to, you can reach the arm up or keep the hand right at the hip. Here we go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower down. Some people who really have problems and pain in the wrist, you have the option to make fists. For me, that's a little intense on my fingers. You also can do this on the elbow, but you're getting into a different stretch here. So this is weight bearing on the wrist, so it would not affect the wrist as much, but this would affect the shoulders. So you have the option of bringing your forearm down onto your elbow, the elbows on the mat, and then lift the hips up. But make sure that the hips are aligned with the knees as you lift up. So that's also an option for you. Let's give love to the other side. So grip the mat with the fingertips, stack those hips, bend those knees, gauge the core, slight angle, and lift up, holding 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. And here we go for 8, friends. Lift up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and lower. Let's go for the big one, number 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down and roll those shoulders out. So walk those hands slightly back, open up the chest, lift the heart, gazes right into the front. Take a couple breaths here. And release. Let's bring that chin to chest and shake it out. No more neck and shoulder pain. No more. And let's grasp our hands behind. Let our head rest into our hands here and open up our chest. Okay. So I said I was going to show you some things that you can do with the chair. Let's grab that resistance band again. So if doing some of these on your hands and knees is difficult, we can do some of them using a chair. Let's bring this chair forward and let's actually move this blanket. Bring your hands to the chair and you can walk back. So this would be a downward dog type modification or version. And you can bend the elbows, squeeze the elbows close and lower. or rise up after you lower down. Lower down, squeeze the elbows. And up. And lower. This also can be done on your knees. Once again, if you need that blanket, you can bring that blanket back and lower. It's just not as intense, but that's fine. That's what you might need. And release. So the next one, once again, I like to give you some options of things you can do while you're maybe sitting. We do a lot of sitting, so while we're sitting, maybe we can do some work on ourselves and our body. So let's move this up here. Bring ourselves to sit right at the edge of the chair and grab right at our hands right at the edge. Roll the shoulders back, lift the chest. And we're going to ground into the feet and just press into the mat. So to begin with, we're not really lifting ourselves. We're just pressing down, and we will slightly elevate up off the mat, but our butt is still touching. And release. Press down and lift. And release. And lift. And release. You want to walk those feet out a little bit now. And you can lift your butt up and off. Just coming down, keep those elbows close so the arms close to the body, and lift up. And down just a little bit here. Little motion, using the weight of our body as resistance. And lift and lower. Come back. Let's give ourselves a nice hug. Inhale and exhale. Maybe reach back, grab a hold of the top of the chair, the sides of the chair, right at the base here. Open up the chest and lean slightly forward, but make sure you don't fall out of that chair. And come back to center. Great job so far. I'm so proud of you for trying these out and keeping with your program. So next, as I promised, we're going to go over to the wall and do some alignment and resistance against the wall. Okay, so now we're at the last part of this sequence. Find a nice, clear, clean wall, and we are going to do some stretch and strength using the wall for alignment and resistance. I love using the wall in my practice for a lot of different reasons. And this will get into, once again, the chest and shoulders and neck area. First, face the wall and bring your hands nice and wide. Grip, once again, use our cat claws. Grip that wall with our fingertips. That takes away the pressure from the wrist and the heel of the hand. Bring those hands about shoulder distance and walk yourself back so you're at a bit of an angle. We're going to bring the fingertips facing up towards the ceiling, nice and wide again. Rotate the shoulders in, lift through the chest, and start to bring yourself close to that wall. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press back. Take a nice big inhale. And start to lower, holding for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. 1. Press away. Starting to feel that into my triceps. And come closer. Go for 10, friends. Here it goes. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Press away. This time, if you want to walk a little bit further and start to lower. So bring those elbows in. This is also a place you can use that resistance band if you want to. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press away. Breath, go for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Make sure you're looking actually right in between your hands. So I was looking down at my feet and I could feel the pull into my neck. So we want to make sure our gaze is right here, center. Let's go for the big one. 10. Here it goes. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press away. Let's just shake that out. I'm here with you. I'm feeling it as well as I'm sure you are. So we're doing this together, you and I. So let's take it up one more notch. Bring our hands in at an angle. This will cause our elbows to come out. So once again, straight out from the shoulders, soften through the elbows. Let's walk in a little bit. Look right in between our fingertips and come close. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and press away. Take a breath. Come in. Let's see if we can kiss that wall or come close to kissing that wall. Here's 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press away. And here's our 10, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and press. Nice job. Let's come into our forearms and just press our forearms into the mat, or into the wall actually, gripping the fingertips, and let's walk out away from the wall. Keep pressing. Lift the chest, lift the shoulders. Maybe see if we can lift the heels and then lower. Keep pressing into the wall with those forearms. Maybe lift up again and lower. And lift, keep pressing. Keep our gaze right here where our thumbs are. And lower. One more time, lift those heels. And lower down. Nice job. Lastly, a nice, one of my favorite stretches and openers using the wall. We're going to make a cactus or half a cactus or goalpost, whatever shape works for you. And face the wall. Bend that elbow. Press the palm into the wall. Start by looking at the wall, and then we're going to walk away from our arm. See if you can press that shoulder into the wall as you walk away. You go until you feel your ideal stretch. So I'm facing away from you so you can see what this angle looks like. You are slightly away from the wall, so you don't want to press your hip into the wall. There is an option of actually coming as close to the wall as possible, but that will intensify the stretch across the shoulder, which will get into the rotator cuff but just maybe one little step away from the wall, some distance for where we are right now. You can bring your hand on your hip, or you can press that hand into the lower back for support. Holding for as long as you can comfortably stand here. So maybe it's for 10 breaths, maybe it's for only 8, or maybe it's for 30 breaths. And then start to walk back towards the wall. Let's try the other side. So make that goal post, press that shoulder, start to walk away. Once again, have a little distance of your body away from that wall. There is the option of coming close, but that really intensifies, and for me does not feel really good right now in my tight shoulders. Make sure we're not scrunching our shoulders or our neck into our shoulders for lengthening. We're holding and pressing or gripping the fingertips into that wall. And then come back. Now, if you want to, you can straighten that arm, press the shoulder in, and this one you can actually come a little bit closer to that wall. Once again, if it's within your ability. So you'll feel this differently in your body, coming across the front of the shoulder and around back. Walk towards the wall. Stretch the other arm out. And you might find that you have one side where you are tighter than the other. Sometimes that's if you're left or right-handed, it might be on that side. I'm left-handed and I'm actually a little bit more open on my left side. And my right side tends to be a little tighter. And come back towards the wall. All right, let's give ourselves a nice hug because we did an amazing job and a lot of hard work today. And as we start to progress into this practice, building on it, stretch it out, we will become more open and less pain and maybe a little less stress that we hold in this area. So I want to once again congratulate you for being part of this, for doing the hard work. I'm here with you, and it's been my greatest pleasure to share all of these tips with you. So have a great day. Namaste.